Hello friends, welcome to listening to The Verde, brought to you by Friends of the Verde River. Friends of the Verde River exists because we can't imagine a world where the Verde is not healthy and flowing. So listening to The Verde is a program designed to inspire, educate, and inform you about everything that makes the Verde River healthy. Today I'm with Laura Jones and Michael Levick, two homeowners in Clarkdale, Arizona. We're going to be talking about some of the work that they've done at their homes and in our communities to become certified as river friendly. So thank you both so much for being here with me today. It's great to
be
you.
here.
Thank you.
I'd like to talk to us a little bit about your backgrounds. Both of you have been in the area for a long time and have done some really great things. Could you share a little bit about yourself? Let's start with you, Laura.
Sure. I have lived in the Verde Valley for about 17 years. I've been a small business owner. I also worked for Friends of the Verde for 8 years, and in my semi-retirement, I am currently work part-time for Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm a realtor. I own a photography company, Verde Valley Images, and I just got seated on the Clarkdale Town Council. So I'm doing a lot in this semi-retirement of mine.
I've heard that people often get more busy.
Yes, it seems to be the case.
Well, it sounds like you're still doing a lot of really important community work.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
What about you, Michael? Care to share a little bit about yourself?
Well, my wife and I actually just moved here in 2018, although we both grew up in desert environments, or at least part of our childhoods. She's from Arizona. We previously lived in Flagstaff, so we're familiar with the area. I used to be I was retired from a career in education. So we bought a house in Clarkdale in 2018 and have been working mostly on the landscaping since we moved in.
That's awesome. How have you been liking Clarkdale so far?
We love it. It's really a wonderful place. Real friendly. See people all over the place. Get to know a lot of people, and for such a small community, there's a lot of resources in the area, cultural and otherwise.
Do you feel like you and your wife have found your forever home now in Clarkdale?
Yep.
That's awesome. And you've taken the initiative to get your home certified. Both of you have. That's really cool. Laura, you were part of our pilot process. Mm-hmm. And then Michael, you just came on this year with some great work that you've done over at your property. Let's start with you, Michael, on this one. What are some of the things that you've already done at your home to become river friendly?
Well, when we bought the house, it really had not been, there had been no work done on landscaping in many, many years. So basically what we had was some nice trees and a bunch of invasive plants and a lot of dirt. So we had the opportunity to have the soil remediation, which was being done by the former mining company. And so we just waited until that was done and then decided or started implementing our plans for low water landscaping. So we added up some patio area with pavers, and so the water could soak in, and we put in some rock gardens full of native and desert plants, which mostly are for pollinators and hummingbirds and butterflies and stuff that, we are encouraging those plants that were already there that are good for nesting or provide food, like pyracantha for the birds, berries or seeds. And the rest we just put in gravel mulch, so we wouldn't have to, we could have requested grass, but we chose gravel mulch instead, so we wouldn't have to use a bunch of water to keep it.
Right. So you mentioned the remediation. You know, you had the opportunity to do just about any type of landscaping that you would have wanted to on your property, right? So you intentionally chose to do low water use landscaping, is that correct?
Yes, yes. I mean, that was in our minds. Well, even up in Eugene, Oregon, when we had a house there, we did low water, we did native landscaping, so we wouldn't have to, water it all the time. And we took out large areas of grass and replaced it with bark mulch and scattered vegetable and flower gardens. So, I mean, low water landscaping has been part of our orientation since a long time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's great that you're implementing it here. So Laura, you've done a lot of cool projects at your house. You've had some of the same opportunities as well with the yard remediation. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you've incorporated?
Well, I had started to make a pollinator garden in my front yard. And so when we got the opportunity to do remediation, I continued that across my yard and took out areas that had been grass and put in gravel and walkways. And I call my garden it's a pollinator garden, but I really call it a monsoon garden because if there's not enough water during the monsoon season for plants to survive, then they don't survive. It's maybe not the nicest way to do it, but I'm not a really great gardener. So I depend on the monsoon rain, and I don't want to use potable water to water my garden. And the plants don't actually really like the house water anyway. So over the years, it's been about 6 or 7 years that I've been growing this, so I have some things that are in there sturdy. I plant a few new things every year, and so I get some new color and whatnot, and I just actually throw a lot of wildflower seeds in, so I hope to see what comes up during the year. And that's kind of fun because it's never the same. The garden never looks the same every year.
That is so much fun.
Yeah, and being able to use the soil remediation program to help, to help continue that in a bigger way in my yard is great. It's been really wonderful. Yeah.
And so similarly, you could have put in grass.
Oh yeah, we could. My neighbor put in grass, and he's sorry, and he's now taking it all out.
Oh really?
We're probably going to take a lot of it out because it's so water intensive, and there are so many great low water options that it just doesn't make sense to do it. Yeah.
Now,
yeah, it's also almost impossible to maintain a good-looking patch of grass in this environment because there are so many things wanting to replace it that volunteer, and weeds, and it takes so much water, and you end up using herbicides if you really want to, so it's just a bad idea.
Gotcha. Just not made for this environment,
no.
Right? Mm-mm. Now, we've talked about not putting in grass. Now, the program itself doesn't explicitly say that we can't have grass, right? We can have some if we want. You guys have both completed the homeowner checklist. And for those watching, this is the little home checklist that homeowners can fill out to assess where their property is right now and inspire some new ideas. So, we allow for a little bit of grass in here, especially if folks are doing other projects to save water, So for those of you out there with your lawns, don't think that this checks you off the list by any means. And then once you guys finished the certification process, you guys got a home sign, right? And I have an example of one right here. So in both Laura's and Michael's yard, there's a river-friendly home yard sign, and you can see these popping up all over the community. And this is basically meant to indicate that the home has been certified, what year they were certified, and at what level, so that you can really know that people are standing with our water resources here in the area. So it looks like we're almost to our break, but when we come back, I want to talk about your future projects. What do you have lined up at your house? What are you excited about? And then also your favorite water story, whether that's a favorite memory. It doesn't have to be on the Verde, but just something a little fun to finish up the episode. So with that, we'll go ahead and go to break. I want to say thank you to our support from Arizona Humanities for making this program possible, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back, everybody, to listening to the Verde. Today I'm here with Laura Jones and Michael Levick, two homeowners that have voluntarily certified their home as river friendly. So right now we're going to jump back in with their future plans and then hopefully hear a little bit about their favorite water story after that. So let's start with you this time, Laura. I know you've
Sure.
got some really cool projects lined up at your house. Tell us about it.
So I have a front yard and a backyard. I live in a historic Clarkdale house, so we don't have a lot of yard. But the front yard looks great, and I want to continue that into the backyard. I'm in the middle of a construction project, so this winter, once that project is done, I will start re-landscaping the back to also make it a low water use. But I also want to put in rainwater catchment because I have a large roof that brings, when it does rain, we catch a lot of water. So I really want to put in a rainwater catchment so I can increase my pollinator garden and my native plants in the backyard. I have a very large cactus garden that is very successful that I'd like to actually put some pollinators in with that. So I'm really excited to be able to put in some kind of a water catchment system and then essentially carrying the front yard into the back and making it as sort of low water, low maintenance as I can. So I can have friends back there now. Yeah.
That's awesome. It sounds like
Yeah.
a great project.
Yeah.
Now, you applied for a small grant.
I did, yes. And if I get that grant, I'll use that to buy a 150-gallon water catchment system because I think my roof will put off way more water than that. And then I want to be able to use that for hardscaping and trying to develop beds in the back and areas for sitting that will be able to incorporate as many native plants and pollinators as that. And I recently came into some really lovely large pots, so I'd be able to do some potted gardens and stuff like that. So I'm really kind of excited to try to step away from my cactus in the back, which is mostly what's back there, and bring some of the pollinators into the area.
That sounds like such a great project. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. And yeah, let's get you a rain harvesting system on property. And then just a comment for everybody watching, those small grants are available for everybody that participates in our River Friendly Living program. They're made possible by the businesses that support the program, and homeowners can apply for up to $1,000 per year to implement efficiency projects at their home. So, Michael, let's turn to you. What are your future plans for your property coming up?
Well, my wife, Jamie, has been designing and installing really beautiful little gardens outlined with native rock and planting native shrubs and flowers and wildflowers there. And so we're just planning to add more of those and include them in our drip irrigation system. And then we want to also put in a rainwater harvesting tank which is going to be on the back of the property, so it'll need to be pumped up to the front where most of the rock gardens are to go through the drip system. So I'm still at the stage of trying to figure out how big of a tank we can put in the available space, because it's a very small yard and most of it is already one of the things that's been really nice about this whole landscaping project is that we've been able to design little living areas back there, fire pit, outdoor dining, hammock, whatever kind of special little spot, and then we're planting to make those sort of visually separate with native, like with trellises, growing native vines and things like that. So we're just going to continue with that kind of an idea and try to implement the rainwater catchment system to provide water during the dry seasons.
Great. Sounds like you've really turned your yard into a bit of an oasis over there. Lots of places to hang out and just enjoy your time outside. That's great.
Yeah, and we got a lot of birds and a big platform bird feeder, which is especially popular with local doves of which we sometimes have 50 or more hanging around waiting for their turn. And so it's fun to sit out in the hammock and watch them. And
that
stuff,
sounds
yeah.
really special. So in addition to what you're doing at your home, you also have some upcoming projects for the town of Clarkdale. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm volunteering with the Town of Clarkdale Parks and Recs team. They are in the early stages of completely restoring the Selnam Mongini Park, which is right in my neighborhood, and so we're working on catchment systems with swales and basins to try to provide natural runoff to plantings there to get more because it's pretty barren right now, get more vegetation in the park without increasing the amount of well irrigation that's needed. And then putting in, a whole new park setup with recreation facilities and outdoor, picnic areas and so forth. But the most exciting part is that they're beginning to talk about a river learning area where there'll be an actual scale model of the Verde with demonstrations of all the different usage and try to model river management and water conservation measures that could be applied. And there's going to be some learning centers around that model where people, especially kids, can interact with the water stream, the model, and learn about ways in which water, the demands and conservation opportunities for the Verde. And there's also a committee of educators, including myself, who are going to be helping to design those interactive learning stations and put up signage and interactive features for the kids to experience.
So cool. So yeah, you're not only bringing these elements and tools to your own home, but you're bringing it to our community as well.
Hopefully, yep.
That's fantastic. So to wrap up the episode here, I want to get into something maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. I want to hear about your favorite ever water memory or story. And it doesn't have to be here on the Verde. It could be any body of water in the world. Let's see, Laura, do you have one in the chamber?
I'll talk about the Verde sort of in a broader perspective. I had never really kayaked before I started kayaking on the Verde. So I love that I live so close to a place when it is 105 degrees out, you can throw your kayak in the back of your truck and go down and hop in the water. And not only do I love kayaking on the Verde, but I love just walking along it. And I'll share a special moment. There's a river access point at the Tuzigoot, river access point in Clarkdale. And my neighbor and I walked together in the morning, and we decided we were going to walk out to the out into Tuzigoot, into the monument. But we started at the river, and we happened upon that morning 2 bald eagles in the trees sitting and watching us, and about 3 otters just playing in the river right in front of us. And it was like I'd never experienced anything like it before. And it was just amazing. And to think that's 5 minutes from my house, it is in the middle of the desert, and here we are with these residential bald eagles just hanging out, and the otters just playing and having fun, swimming and getting out and playing in the sand and getting back in the water. And it was magical. And I just think that's such a rare and special opportunity.
That sounds like such
It
an
was
amazing
so cool.
It just make your heart melt. Watch those,
It was amazing.
those otters
It was
play
amazing.
around.
It was amazing.
I'll turn it to you, Michael. What's your favorite memory of a body of water?
Well, I grew up sailing with my dad, especially on the Chesapeake Bay, which was really incredible. The Chesapeake Bay is so complexly braided that you can many little inlets and streams and estuaries to explore. So I really loved exploring on the water. And so when I reached middle age, I realized I needed more exercise than sailing. So I started kayaking and canoeing. And the Verde is such a wonderful place to just, I live just a few minutes from several different river access points. And it's just so much fun to just go hop on the river. My favorite thing is to go upstream from the Tuzigoot Wrap all the way up as far as I can, either paddling against the current or dragging my boat, and then turn around and float back down. And when you're and you get into some really undisturbed areas where there's I think that one of the memories, it was just seeing a hawk chase a duck right across the bow of my boat as I was sitting in a quiet place on the river, So.
Wow. Yeah, going upstream, now that really is quite a workout there.
It's slow. It's more about being patient than it is hard work. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now we've got time for one more comment, I think, from each of you. I'd like for you to say a few words for any homeowners out there. What can they do fairly easily in their backyards or on their property that can make a difference? Let's start with you, Laura.
I think that it can be a challenge, and I'm a terrible gardener. Let me start by that. But so I actually have friends who are better at it than I, so I enlisted some of them to help me start my first garden bed. And once they got me started, I was able to expand it. And again, I expanded it, but without using a whole lot of water, and really trying to stay focused on native and plants and pollinators, and because I like the birds too, and the butterflies and all that come through. I seem to have a very healthy lizard population at my house. So it's not, if it seems intimidating, if you start small, you can expand in increments and make a great difference, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael? What do you have for folks out there listening?
Well, the first thing we did, which is the easiest, is to make sure all of the water, your plumbing fixtures are low flow. If your faucets have aerators and flow restrictors on them, and low flow shower head, and put in micro irrigation instead of sprinkler systems, that makes a huge difference in your water consumption. And we got a kick out of getting our bill from the water company showing that we're, in the very lowest water use category. But the other thing is that native and desert adapted plants are much easier to establish and maintain than things like roses or, things. So, it's actually easier to install and maintain those kinds of plants. So, you be lazy, plant native,
I like that. So what I'm hearing is it saves money and effort.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's what we like. Stacking up for a victory there. All right, everybody. That has been this episode of Listening to the Verde. This program is designed to engage, inspire, and inform you about all things that make the Verde River healthy. We've been here with Laura Jones and Michael Levick. Thank you both so much for a great episode today. And be sure to tune in to the next episode of Listening to the Verde. Listening to the Verde is brought to you by Friends of the Verde River. Please visit verderiver.org/listening for more videos and resources.